Hello, everyone. Welcome to Living with Intention Live. I am April Wyatt, and I am so excited about our discussion today. There's just so much to this, and we're going to do our best to unpack it a little bit more so it's a little bit more clear. And because I think that we really often assume that if we care about someone, a communication could or should come very clear or naturally. Or even if it's a business relationship, a personal relationship, whether it is family, friends, a close working partner, any of that we think things should be easier and that we should be able to express it. Yet many of us have had experiences of sitting across from someone that we really wanted to say something, but yet we feel frozen. Maybe your neck is tight, shoulders tight, maybe your jaw's clenched, or you have that rock in your belly. This is how our body is holding when we don't feel safe or supported. And those are patterns. And we're going to talk about that with Irene Fair today. And our relationships really do matter. We want so much for ourselves, for our loved ones, for the people that we work with. And it's not that the words aren't there or the desire to connect with them isn't there, but again, there's something difficult underlining that surface, right, to reach. And so our nervous system, as those of you who are familiar with me, I'm a somatic performance coach, and I'm all about nervous system and understanding and finding ways to self-regulate and ways to understand the patterns without judging ourselves or others. We're just simply leaning in and listening to our nervous system, to how our bodies are holding. And when we can do that and build that safety and trust, then things ease a little bit easier. And so it's all about safety within ourselves. Other people feel that, then we can trust ourselves. They start to trust us and the environment as well. So I also want to share a little bit about environment and about the hounds of business. And this is really a safe space that I really enjoy being part of. And it's because they truly care. They are all about trust and honesty and making real relationships, professional relationships. And this month is June, Men's Health Month. And the Hounds of Business have an amazing lineup of panelists who are offering insights to bring in clarity about men's health and prosperity. And this image is something that is really cool, and it's coming up on July 2nd, as you can see. It's men who lead, build, and endure. And they talk about identity, performance, structure, and brotherhood. And this is a private workshop that you can come in. Men can come in. There's so many women's groups, as you'll hear me talk about a women's group that I have coming up here today. But men can come in and learn from high integrity men throughout the June Hounds of Business. And these live panelists, they're going to be part of this private workshop on Thursday, July 2nd from 12 to 1:15 Eastern Standard Time. It's about turning trust, visibility, and relationships into real business growth. So this wonderful experience, you can sign up and register through LinkedIn, searching Hounds of Business, or DM me, or Mike Asherbranner, who's the founder, or even on YouTube. You can find them on YouTube. And this workshop's going to focus on getting clear before you amplify and building that trust first relationship, whether it's online or offline, and using LinkedIn. This is a key right here. Using LinkedIn as visibility, without having to chase people. We don't like that, right? That's not even safety with our nervous system if we feel that we have to chase people and have that expectations pressed upon ourselves. That's a lot of pressure there. So I highly encourage you to connect with Mike Asherbranner or myself, Hounds of Business on LinkedIn or YouTube if you're curious about this amazing workshop that's happening on July 2nd. And speaking of workshops and nervous system, I do have a recalibration masterclass. Actually, it's today. I am so excited for this. It is at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's about connecting with high capacity women. We tend to hold on to everything, and we're keeping everything together, the family, our jobs, whatever it is. And then there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. So it's about understanding the patterns beneath the pressure, being able to release those tensions and that protective holding. So that way we can be more present and be more receptive. So if that's something that you're interested in, it's tonight. You can scan the QR code there. You can DM me again. You can find this information on my LinkedIn or my website, livingwithintention.co. And please share. There's always somebody out there that could use some support. And speaking of safety and trust, this is what I add to my Bali retreat here. And it's October 10th through the 17th. It is all about coming back to yourself. It's really allowing a pause so you can rise above the noise. So we experience different movement meditations. This gets the rhythm, right? Gets us out of our own box and with the breath. And we also do some biodynamic breathwork experiences, which is very connected breath. And that helps to build that capacity within your nervous system. There's amazing spa services there. We have a break in the middle of the day, 3 hours where you can go float in the ocean, which is that image right there with the palm tree. It's right there off the northern shore of Bali. You can go for a walk. You can go take a nap. When's the last time you allowed yourself that space? And also it's an experience as well. So I'm all about going off property. Let's visit an ancient temple. Let's go on a waterfall hike. As you can see that image down below, that is from the waterfall where we will experience. And then also take in the local culture and see the Balinese children traditional dance. We go to a school and watch them dance. So this is all about connecting with yourself, with community, and really building that self-capacity for yourself. So that way, when you return home, you have more of a foundation of support. You can tune in and recognize when you're feeling heightened and make better choices or apply the tools and techniques that we will be sharing with you in Bali. So that's what's coming up, whether it's the masterclass, Bali, or the July men's event. It's all about safety and support today. It's all about recognizing that for yourself. And that's what I love to do. So I'm so excited about today's guest. Irene Fair is a sexless marriage recovery coach. She's also an author, a somatic experiencing practitioner, which is near and dear to my heart, and also a trauma specialist, as she spent years helping people understand the relationship between nervous system safety, emotional intimacy, and connection and desire. And what I appreciate most about Irene's work is that she helps people move beyond any blame or pressure, that performance, and move towards a deeper understanding of what helps connection actually flourish in your life. So I'm so happy to bring Irene up to the stage. Yeah, let's welcome her in. Hello, Irene. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you. When I first reached out to you on LinkedIn, there was just something about you. I was like, I need to know more about Irene. And we had such an amazing conversation that we decided to have a live show. And I thought, you know what? Usually I have 2 or 3 guests on a live, and I thought, no, we need this whole conversation to talk about, from the boardroom to the bedroom and that nervous system's role that we don't understand quite, right? That connection, trust, and intimacy that we all want, that's biologically hardwired into us. So before we get into all this discussion, please share a little bit about you and what you do.
Yes, well, your intro alluded to a lot of things. So I work primarily with monogamous couples in a long-term relationship who are struggling with a sexless, near sexless marriage. So whether that's no sex at all or sex that's strained, that feels pressured, that feels like you're going through the motions, but there's no connection. And my work is to help couples move through that, to reconnect. Oftentimes is to fall in love again,
Mhm.
because typically couples that lose the sexual connection, they may love each other as partners, but that passion or that feeling in love might not be there. So I have this beautiful honor of leading couples down the path of rediscovering each other, or sometimes rebuilding their relationship from a crisis place where they're not sure if they should stay together or if this is just how it is. Um, so that's my primary focus and passion, and also part of my personal story, because I myself lived through a sexless marriage. Uh, my story was that I was the one who lost my interest in sex. It was confusing. I felt a lot of shame. And that, alongside with lack of connection, ended my marriage. But I decided that I didn't want other couples to go through what we did, what we went through, without support, which was also very true for us. We didn't know where to turn to. We weren't getting the kind of support we needed. So
Mm.
I made it my life mission to support couples and to, again, provide the kind of support that I wish I had when I was going through this.
Oh, yeah. And it's so important because I think there's a lot of shame and guilt that we put on ourselves, a pressure to perform
Yeah,
in a certain way. Yeah. And
absolutely.
so when we think about that and the performance, or what intimacy really is, can you unpack that just a little bit for us, for our listeners and viewers? And please, anyone who has any questions, please put it in the comments. We are seeing some from LinkedIn and YouTube, but not Facebook. Sometimes StreamYard's a little wonky. So if you can hop over to LinkedIn or to YouTube, we'd greatly appreciate any questions for Irene. Yeah.
So, to your question about what is intimacy, so my definition of intimacy is, I like to use this, excuse me, a way to look at the word is a way to look at the term. So, intimacy, into you, me, see, meaning it's a view into us. And it's a way for us to really see another person. And we our regular lives really hinge on, a lot of the times, either being very composed because we need to go out in the world in a certain way, we need to show ourselves in a certain way, or we need to present ourselves in a specific role in our work or somewhere else. And intimacy is that place where you get to take these masks off, where you get to really be seen, where you don't need to uh, send a message or show a part of you, but you just get to be yourself. And certainly that is true on the emotional level, really allowing people around us, our partners, to see what is happening emotionally, our fears and our
Mhm.
desires, maybe things that we're so scared to name. But it's also, of course, sexual intimacy, and that is showing ourselves fully naked, both physically but also emotionally, allowing our partners to see us in pleasure, or again, maybe have that tension where we want something and there's a fear that's stopping us from asking for it. And again, allowing our partners to see us. And
Mm.
and again, this intimacy can also be expressed in friendship, having friends see parts of ourselves that we don't show to other people. And so for me, intimacy again is that opportunity to let others see me and for me to see them, and to have this truer, maybe rawer experience, or the experience that's more raw rather than this kind of composed, curated version that we put ourselves, that really a lot of aspects in our lives necessitate.
Mm. Yes, and I think, really let's go back just a little bit because I think you hit something, especially for women, and it could be for men too. I'm a woman, so I only know my perspective, but for our partners to really fully see ourselves, fully see us, and we hold so much judgment against ourselves as women. That's all I know. In the Western culture, I can say
Mhm.
from my experience as a white woman, being objectified, being, seen a certain way, growing up in the 80s. That's all I need to say. And um, being
Mhm.
comfortable in my own skin. And I grew up with, my mother was disabled. She had rheumatoid arthritis. She
Mhm.
despised her body because her body was shutting down on her. And she had scars from all the replacements of shoulders, hips, knees. And she always said, don't look at me.
Mm.
And so not having that role model also, I think, is very important to be confident or to be just appreciative of our bodies.
Yeah.
I think that also stems from our upbringing too. How did our mothers or our caregivers, express or show their bodies?
Yeah.
Was it in a healthy way?
Yeah.
Or was it more in a protective or using it as power? Because
Yeah.
that's another thing as well.
Yeah, and you speak to these powerful examples of different relationships that we definitely different relationships of intimacy that we have to ourselves as well. If
Mhm.
we uh, don't want other people to see our bodies, it's usually because we're disconnecting from them. We don't want our own bodies. We want to disassociate from them and have shame about them. And of course, yes, children pick that up from parents. Children pick that up from everyone around them, and the cultural aspects, and that intimacy with others starts with intimacy with ourselves, welcoming our bodies, listening to them, even though they may not hold the same shape as they did when we were younger, or there's different disabilities and scars that come with different traumas, that this body, remembering that this body is this beautiful, soft, tender animal that just wants to be loved, just like, we want to love up our cats and dogs or whatever pets we have, that this body is craving for that tenderness and love as well.
Hmm. It truly is. So here we're craving something. This is what I'm hearing you say, Irene. This biological, we're craving, yet I want this, yet, but don't touch me or don't
Mhm.
look at me. And that's the nervous system, that's that protection, that heightenedness. And this is also, not just in the fully unclothed body, but also out in the world too.
Mhm.
As we're talking about from boardroom to the bedroom, we want people to hear us. We want to feel valued. We want others to understand us and receive us
Mhm.
in that way, yet the nervous system is still holding on to something.
Yeah. And you used a very key word, which is protection, protective. These are all protective mechanisms. And whether it's big T trauma, meaning really traumatic situations in our childhoods, or little T trauma, like living with disappointment or rejection, or having to go through childhood alone and not having someone to help you regulate or to help make sense of the world. So these traumas will create these protective behaviors in us. And they, on one side, they may limit our lives, but from the other side, I want to celebrate the importance of them, because the nervous system's first and really only role is our survival. And so yay for the nervous system for coming up with these protective mechanisms. But as I like to say, this the principal reason for the nervous system is help us survive. But most of us also want to thrive in our lives. And so understanding our nervous system, working with our nervous system is uh,
Hmm.
the first step in being able to thrive, to create a life where these protective mechanisms don't limit us, don't get in the way of connection, intimacy, or trust with others. We want to have both. We want to have the protective mechanism, but maybe not in the way that limits us.
Exactly. Exactly. And it is all about seeing that protection as, okay, this kept me safe at one point in my life. It's not a good or a bad thing. It's just how we're hardwired.
Yeah,
And when we can accept that part of ourselves,
yeah.
I think that awareness and the acceptance is the first step. What do you think, Irene?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, for me, it's appreciating this amazing system that we have,
Mm.
not just accepting, like, yeah, this is part of me, but to really appreciating and celebrating the brilliance of this nervous system that we have and its ability to help us survive, and oftentimes survive pretty harrowing experiences.
Mm.
So uh, what I do with my clients is again celebrate what this inner intelligence has done for us and continues to do, but then also learn to channel it in the ways that also helps us thrive.
Yeah. So what does that look like then for your clients? I am just curious. How do you what would that look like, working with someone who is having intimacy challenges and wants more, wants that connection back again? Because wherever we go, there we are.
Hmm.
So this also is going to shift our relationships at work and with other family members and things as we lean in and listen and recognize these patterns. So what is that first step? What would that look like?
Yeah, so let me also set the context a little bit
Yeah.
about couples in a sexless marriage, or where a lot of the conflict comes from one partner being the higher desire partner and wanting more,
Mm.
and the other partner being the low desire partner. If both partners are high desire and they both want more, they don't end up in a sexless marriage. They will work through things and find their way. But again, typically sexless couples in a sexless marriage or a sexless relationship, there is this mismatch. There's one higher desire partner and then there's one lower desire partner. And this is also a lot of the times a seeming mismatch. It's not an actual mismatch, but a mismatch in knowing how to work with each other. But let's I'll leave that on the side to say that, let's say the couples, that's how they're experiencing it. Like, wow, we're really mismatched. And that's only the beginning of what starts to happen in the couple. Because what happens when one partner wants more and the other partner wants less, and they start to feel the pressure. The higher desire partner is talking about more, is bringing up the topic of sex, is trying to maybe get books or initiate more or schedule date night. And the lower desire partner, because they're not really able to want sex on demand, they start to feel pressure. They start to feel like, wow, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do here. They start to also develop resentment. They start to feel anger,
Mm.
like, stop pressuring me. This is too much. There is also confusion and shame. Why can't I change this? I don't understand. I love my partner. Why can't I change? And so what happens is, during the struggle, there is so much nervous system dysregulation that starts to happen, and couples end up in these negative cycles. So things like, certainly sex, but even hugs, touch, like cuddling on the couch, become fraught with tension, because
Mm.
there is just so much pressure to break through out of this dynamic. And this is where the sexless marriage dynamic is so much more than just about sex. It isn't a sex problem. It becomes a safety problem,
Mm.
pressure, because again, there's resentment, anger. Um, there is, it also becomes a problem of trust. It becomes
Yes.
a problem of certainly communication, but trust and nervous system regulation are kind of the uphill things, and the communication is just downstream. Because when we can't connect, when we don't trust, our communication is going to falter. Uh,
Yes, I think you right there, the trust. So would you say that possibly, it didn't just start with one day, oh no, I don't want to be intimate with you anymore, right? It started with something with trust
Absolutely.
in the less, uh, I forgot what you said, the person who is not seeking the intimacy any longer. They
Mhm.
feel that there was a lack of trust or something happened, and it could possibly be just something that activated them,
Yeah,
and then it's the piling it up and piling it, the thoughts, everything that they're thinking, and then our minds are so amazing, aren't they? Like they like to tell little stories that aren't true.
absolutely.
It tells the story and then it looks to validate.
Mhm.
Oh, there they go again.
Yeah,
Oh, I know that, and this is why, and then that shuts down, shuts down, shuts down
absolutely.
our capacity for that connection, because we're building that protection, we're building that wall without even realizing it. And then when date night rolls around, oh, I have a headache.
Exactly.
Oh, I just don't feel like it. Or they put other person's needs before their own needs and
Yeah.
relationships. So yes, the trust, the lack of it, and
Yeah.
I just want to say really quick, hello, Lisa Fevick. Thank you for being here. And Deborah Jackson, it's good to see you in the room as well. And Mike Asherbranner, of course. And I believe that Jennifer Thompson was here as well. So we're talking with Irene Fair, and she's talking about intimacy and sexless marriages. And we're talking about also how wherever we go, there we are. And when our nervous system is dysregulated and we don't feel safe, or we don't feel that we can trust others, then that starts to shut down. And that's intimacy is one of the many areas of that.
Yeah. And to piggyback on what you said, that sex just doesn't go away overnight. That what is typical is that there is a progression of these micro hurts, micro miscommunications, micro misunderstandings that the couple doesn't repair or doesn't clear up, that then start building up. And so, it can start with, for example, which is very typical, women overriding what our bodies are saying, and, for example, having sex too quickly before we're ready, or having or not adjusting the pace and not slowing down to honor the body's pace, to then resenting what happened and
Mm.
showing up with that resentment. Maybe it's around the piled up dishes or something else that's going on around the house, or something happening with the kids, to then next time showing up a little bit more reserved, a little bit less available, not saying anything about it. To then
That's
again,
that's
everything.
it right there.
Yep.
It's the lack of communication,
Yeah.
or how they're communicating
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Where a lot of people are communicating in the form of, why are you doing this? Don't you know you're supposed to be doing this? And instead of the vulnerable communication that gets you to repair things. And so, a lot of, again, communication happens via sarcastic remarks or blaming or criticism, but none of that actually supports us in having the experience that we need. And so and this is a big piece of also how we develop protective nervous system behaviors. When we don't feel empowered to
Mhm.
change our situation, we will go into protection mode. And since most people truly don't know how to speak up for their needs and don't know how to express what's really going on, we end up naturally resorting to protective mechanisms, because it's very black or white. It's either I just take it, or I shut down and put a wall around me to protect myself. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't even know, I literally didn't know that I could ask for what I wanted in sex. I truly believed that sex was something that was done to me, and I should either like it or not.
Yeah, that's the performance, right?
That's the performance.
And
Absolutely.
the same goes for men too. I need to be
Absolutely.
this certain way, and I have to perform. And so the older we get, biologically, things start to slow down.
Mhm.
And as you were alluding to earlier, Irene, about rushing things,
Yeah.
we need to slow down. We need to take our time, spend more time in the intimacy, and allow things to flow naturally instead of trying to push, perform,
Yeah.
make things happen, because then both partners will feel it's not a nice, intimate experience, and then both of them feel a little deflated if the expectations are not met there. And Jennifer, she had something interesting to share. And she said the hurt that a sexless relationship produces is difficult to overcome. It requires renewed communication to overcome it. What do you say to that, Irene?
Absolutely. The hurt runs deep. The hurt is, again, not about lack of sex. The hurt is about rejection and aloneness and not feeling seen and not feeling met. Even not necessarily sexually, but even met in the maybe the struggle that typically the higher desire partner will experience, wanting more, but their partner not being able to respond. So it's all these much more intense emotions that are at play, and they need to be unpacked and healed. So there's communication, absolutely, but there's also specific type of communication, really vulnerable communication of letting your heart speak, and letting your, really be seen. And what I see with the couples that I work with is, when I guide them to that deeper expression of what is going on in their hearts, that they can then really feel seen by each other, and they can heal the hurt. But
Mm,
that's no easy process. That's for sure.
yeah. It's very small steps, creating that safety and that trust first and foremost. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, the shorter your experiences, typically the less hurt there is. I work with couples who've been together for 20, 30, 40 years where it's been an accumulation of hurt. And so we
Mhm.
really have to understand. So there's the hurt, and then there's these layers and layers and layers of these protective mechanisms. And we need to understand what they are and start really like uh, peeling the artichoke to get to the heart of things. And I've created an assessment on my website for couples to also understand where they are, because for couples like this, working on sex directly makes no sense because they have all these protective mechanisms in place. Their hearts are barred up and unavailable to each other. So to say, let's get a book about sex or get some sex toys and revive your marriage that way, that's ignoring these layers of hurt, these layers of protective behaviors. But once you get to understand what your kind of level of protective behavior is, that's where you need to go first, and that's what the assessment that I've created helps to target.
That is amazing. I hope that, and we'll share your information here at the end, but I hope people are already searching you, because also with June and Men's Health Month, you shared backstage about a special group that you're supporting, and it just so happens to be,
With men.
yes, of
Yes.
men.
Yes, so I've partnered with a male sex therapist to run a men's group for men who are coping with a sexless marriage. And it's been just such a heart opening experience. For me, I've been wanting to do this for a long time because I typically get so many messages from men, particularly in a situation where the woman is not really interested neither in sex nor in figuring this out together. And so they're left with kind of just on their own with the emotions and
Mm,
both the longing for experiencing more with their wives, to then of course the rejection, the aloneness. And for a long time I didn't have anything to offer these men. And when I met my colleague and now partner in this group, Ronnie Burke, we partnered together to create this group. And I've just been, honestly, it's been the best part of my the last couple of weeks is we've been running the group, because it's so powerful to see men deeply open up to both the hurt and the longings, and to find their way back to inner stability, because they also get shaken up by the rejection, oftentimes by humiliation and shame, such as comments such as oh, you only want sex, or why are you so sex hungry? What's wrong with you? That, while we need to be focusing on both women's experiences and men's experiences, a lot of the times, or a lot recently, has been in favor of women, and men are not supposed to want sex now. Men are not supposed to want to be close to their partners. And this has been such a powerful space to offer this validation that it's okay to want to be close to your partner sexually. There is nothing wrong with that. And to create that safety for men to open up and be seen, and to have their voices be heard.
yes, even, everybody matters, and it's the transparency, it's the vulnerability, and also recognizing they're not alone.
Absolutely. That's the
And
piece.
then
Yeah.
having that safe space, as we talked about, the safety,
Yeah.
right? And the trusting in you and your co-partner, co-host with this, and in each other, that they can share things that they probably can't share anywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the times when they're sharing with us, they've never shared with their partners because they actually have never felt safe,
Mhm.
whether there's humiliation or shutdown or just conflict as they try to broach the topic of sex and intimacy, that they were never able to say these things. And yeah, it just touches me how much there's so many amazing men who are wanting closeness and intimacy and love and care, and to create that space for them to name that and to be again heard in their longings and in their pain has been such a privilege. And we're holding the next one in September, and we'll be doing them quarterly. They're about
Um,
12 weeks, so at a quarterly pace.
that is amazing. Such empowering, impactful work, and not just for the men, but for their partners too.
Yeah.
So that way they understand how to communicate more effectively. As Deborah said, two people coming together, they're willing to work it out. They want to be in that space, and then they have another way of approaching
Yeah.
their partner, even if their partner seems to be shut down. That is so meaningful when I know when my husband went out and bought me bamboo sheets when I was, premenopausal and had night sweats, and he's like, I did some research and I bought these sheets for you. I was like, what? You really do care. You're listening to me and my needs. And I think that's what it is, even if it is buying sheets, and just having that conversation, we need to communicate better about what we're experiencing in a safe way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is a difference, right? Of
Absolutely.
when we get reactionary and we're really in that protection mode and
Mhm.
words go flying, other things fly, and
Yeah.
that's not helpful whatsoever.
Yeah. And I know for myself too, as I mentioned, I didn't know how to communicate when I was going through my sexless marriage, but also I didn't know that there was any other way of communicating what I wanted than criticism. I really,
Mm,
because that's all I experienced. That was the water that I lived in, right? The fish, the water that the fish lives in, right? That was my environment around me. This is what women did in my family and the people that I knew. You pointed out what's not working, and you drilled down on into the faults of your partner, and particularly men, right? Faults of the men and what they were not doing, and that was the only thing available in asking for what you need, and that will only jack up our nervous system,
mm,
create defensiveness, reactiveness, and ultimately will not get us what we need. So yeah, again, I see people doing actually a lot of communication. I think lack of communication is not the issue. It's just that we're communicating in ways that um, activate us to and push each other away. So
mm.
we need to change the way we communicate rather than communicate more or less. Uh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes, and as Mike said, when words and things fly, right, that sets the partner up to, wanna that fight, flight, freeze. They're gonna flight. They're gonna remove themselves, from that environment for sure.
Absolutely. In a protective way, and of course, that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. And so Mike is just adding here, that he's
Yes,
not
I'm
an
reading the
expert, but
comment.
yes.
Yeah.
It's so important just to have these conversations, to know that there are opportunities, different ways to approach things. And as you work with your clients, Irene, what are you noticing? What shifts are you noticing for them? Do you have a story, a favorite story to share about working with a client or with a group?
Oh my gosh, so many stories that I don't even know where to start. I do have quite a few success stories narrated by my clients of their journeys on my website. But I would say the changes. I see instantly from the first conversation that I have with people, which is an hour-long free consultation, but structured in such a way that doesn't have judgment, that is not about fixing the couple, that is not about looking for the reasons of why this is broken, but to give space for each person to be heard. And oftentimes, again, in this dynamic, in a sexist marriage dynamic, these people stop really truly understanding each other, listening to each other, taking risks to really be curious with each other. And
Ah,
so, starting with that first consultation call, I see people like, wow, I've never been able to say this, or I've never been able to have my partner actually listen, not even hear, but listen to what I had to say. And they feel a lot safer knowing that their voice can be heard, that they can speak up, and that it's what their experience is. It's okay. It's valid. And the more that we continue the conversation and I create that space for both partners to speak their truth and to get down to the vulnerable level, there's literally like light in their eyes. There's a spark in their eyes, or a shine in their faces, because something starts to come alive. Again, one of the most um, painful side effects of a sexless marriage is feeling alone, not heard, not seen, and literally not touched. And so that's such a beautiful journey that I get to see with clients. And one of my favorite stories is um, a couple that, again, their stories on the website. They were on the brink of a divorce. They were just like, we can't make this work. They had worked with numerous couples therapists, and they were just getting stuck in the same cycles.
mm,
And I just keep getting updates from them. Today, they are this love bug couple. They've been together for more than 20 years. Now, I think more than 20, probably 26 years. And the transformation is huge because, again, like I said, it's about falling in love and finding each other again, but at a deeper level. And of course, sex is a big piece of it, but again, it goes deeper. And again, I keep getting pictures from them, like they have a camper van and they send it to me from all the different locations. But it was a hard journey. There was a hard journey of unpacking a lot of wounds and helping them build hope where it felt like, well, wait, we're still in the same place, but just a little thing changed. But like a little change is a stepping stone to more change. And they stuck it out. And again, I'm delighted to see them thriving today
mm.
in
That
their
is that
third
is
chapter of their
definitely,
life. Yeah.
yes. And there's more, right? I think the mind, says, well, this is it, right? It can't see past.
Yeah.
It's going to project in the future or work from the past. It can't live here in the present moment of understanding everything. We can make that choice.
Yeah.
We can step out of our comfort zone, as you said, take the risk.
Yeah.
Take the risk. It is very risky. The nervous system's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should reach out to Irene or, get her contact information or take this assessment on her website. It feels kind of risky. And also, it is acknowledging that there is a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
once we acknowledge it and say, okay, this is right now, this is what I'm experiencing, but it's not the end. It's not the end. And we can choose to write this next chapter, as you beautifully shared about those clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is absolutely true that reaching out for support is one of the most difficult steps. But there's also, thinking about the nervous system and what happens. there is so much breakthrough that happens when we are able to reach out for support. Whether you end up working with someone or not is a different thing, but to actually take that step,
Hmm.
you are actually empowering yourself. You're sending a message to your to your nervous system. I am not alone. I am actually reaching out for help. So much of nervous system dysregulation and trauma is having had to go through difficult situations alone.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
take the same more or less situation and different people who have to go through it alone, and people who have to go through the same thing but supported, loved, and not alone, almost the same exact situation will impact the person who's alone more,
Mm.
because we're not meant to go through difficult things alone. We're meant to have support. And so reaching out for support is such a huge message to the nervous system. Hey, we're going to be okay. We're on the path of surviving and even thriving, that we're going to be okay. And that's so important. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I'm available between sessions, and I teach them to ping me via text or an email and let me know if you need support. Even if we may not get a chance to talk, but that reaching out is so important.
So important.
And they see that after a couple of times, they're like, wow, you're absolutely right. I reached out to you. We didn't even get to talk, but I feel like something dropped off my shoulders. There's more ease in my breath, or
Yes,
I'm seeing things more clearly. That again, when we do that, something deeply shifts in the nervous system that provides more safety, more peace, more nervous system regulation.
exactly. Exactly. I can't agree with you more, because when we do feel supported and we feel safe, such as with you, and connecting with you and receiving, just knowing somebody's there, right? It eases the body. And this is where we protect through our body, as I've learned in the biodynamic breath work and trauma release system, is when we can tune in and recognize, where is this being held, and offering that support with sessions, and learning to touch and support our own bodies.
Yeah,
That is huge too,
yeah.
because we're reaching out for others to fill that void, but really it's about being with ourselves and
Mhm.
recognizing and giving ourselves that own um, support. So I really, really enjoyed this conversation with you today, Irene. I do want to bring it to another point though before we go.
Yes, sure.
As people work through their intimacy, through these challenges, through awareness, don't you agree that we are the ripple effect? So this is going to affect our other relationships. This is going to affect our business relationships, our team, even if they're a manager or a CEO or even a team member. This also impacts those areas too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And our home lives can either be a source of nourishment and support that then we take out into our teams, our businesses, and the world with our children, whatever we're doing. Or it can be a source of stress and a source of worry that has us, in a way, also develop new protective mechanisms
Mm,
to hide that from the world. So many couples have to pretend, oh no, everything is okay. We're a happy couple,
right?
because it's so
Yeah.
shameful to show that you're struggling. You don't know what to do. And so again, when the relationship is a source of nourishment and safety and support, we absolutely radiate that ease, that safety onto others. And then, like you said, have that ripple effect and create a much safer world for everyone. Yeah. And
Yes.
love that aspect of this work too. It starts with immediate clients, but then they carry this on in their lives, in their worlds.
Hmm. Indeed, they do. And it's just really important for us to understand, our bodies are amazing. It's communicating to us.
Yeah.
And so when we have somebody like Irene or myself to help walk through and really understand what's happening with your nervous system, with how you can connect a little easier, different ways, different approaches, and a different way of thinking about yourself too, things will shift. And you're working on a cellular level.
Absolutely.
You're carving out new neural pathways in your brain. How amazing is that?
And
I
it's
love it.
great for also um, revitalizing us. My clients come in looking way older than they leave because
Mhm.
this, like you said, this process of rewiring our nervous system, learning something, having access to joy and fulfillment and satisfaction. I mean, what could be better for rejuvenizing us and giving us energy in life?
Yes. What could be better? How can it get better than this? That's what I always say. And so,
Exactly.
Irene, for those who are looking to connect with you, what is the best way?
Yeah, so my website, which you have up on the screen, has a tremendous amount of resources. I have a sexless marriage resource center with blogs and podcasts that I've spoken on. And I have a new book coming out at the end of this year or beginning of next year called Desire Under Pressure, a 12-step process for enjoying and wanting sex for busy couples and parents. And it's not related to the 12-step program, but it is a process to take couples from this dynamic of mismatch of higher desire partner, lower desire partner, and all these other pressures that we come with from parenting, from busy lives, from expectations of how we're supposed to perform, and breaking through them to deep intimacy. So you can sign up on the website to receive notifications when the book is out. And again, access resources as well as a way to set up a call with me if you'd like to have a consultation and explore what is possible for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Irene. And before we go, I just want to ask you, if you want somebody to have one thing to take away from our conversation today, what would that be?
Yeah. And is that a question to the
Yes,
audience?
for
Okay.
you. Yeah, for
I'd
you.
love to
What,
see that
what,
as
what would
well.
it be that one takeaway that you would like people to take away from this conversation today? What would that be?
What would I like? I think one of the things that I love about the nervous system is that it is malleable. So we can come in with a lot of traumas or protective mechanisms, but there is healing, and again, there's access to aliveness, to energy, to satisfaction that is possible. And so when we talk about the nervous system, even though we focus a lot on the protective mechanisms and things like that, there's a tremendous amount of healing that is available. There's a tremendous amount, again, of access to aliveness that so many people are craving, and certainly access to intimacy and connection and trust and sex and passion and pleasure that comes with it. So it's a very I think this lens, this window into a lot of problems through the nervous system is very hopeful, very positive, and again, very, very effective
Mhm.
in creating what we want in our lives.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. I so appreciate you sharing your amazing insights. And please, anyone who's curious about Irene and especially that assessment, why not? Why not take that assessment, especially if you're feeling that you're needing some support and connect with Irene. She's a lovely person, and I hope that everyone else enjoys the rest of their day, and not to have so much pressure on yourself to
So,
to perform or to be a certain way. We all need to just accept ourselves and just lean in and be curious.
yeah,
And that starts with taking that risk and reaching out. So
yes. Thank you for
thank
this
you.
beautiful conversation.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for showing up today. And I hope that you keep living with intention and be well.